guys, welcome back to TCG Critique. Today we're going to talk about Mink Velvet. This is the Madolche archetype. This is a 1-of-1 unstitched version. So you can see here that we have an unstitched version and then we have a stitched version. I'm going to take a look here. Alright, so we're going to talk about the unstitched version first. I'm going to put this over to the side. So Mink in general is a very soft, low pile suede. So it feels pretty nice over your fingers when you are sliding cards. I should give you a demonstration. It slides pretty well. This mat is vertical pile. So you can see that right there. It doesn't really affect my play because of course we play horizontally. And Mink is a very thin mat. You can see it. Yeah, so it's even thinner than Angel Down. And that's kind of the problem with Mink, because you can feel the table when you're playing. I don't really like to feel the table when I have a play mat. That's in 2-player mode, and I'll put it in 1-player mode so you can see. Still just as smooth. 1-player mode is definitely better. When I use this mat, I always use it in 1-player. 2-player is kind of too thin for my liking. Mink's ink is really good for a suede. If you look at the ink in general, I'm kind of rolling it. You can see like very small cracks, but it's really good for a suede. It's probably one of the best inking for a suede I've seen. It doesn't really crack as much as other suedes. So you can hear it, because the truth is you can feel the ink though. Even though it doesn't crack, you can definitely feel the ink. I actually bought a second Mink, and it was the Dragon's Maiden, because I like Mink that much, but it was centered art and it was hard to play because I could feel the ink. So ink affects the play on Mink. So I think that this is the best Mink that has been released, although there's not many options you can choose from because Mink is pretty limited if you look at Pvramid's website. And I'm just gonna show you guys in 1-player thirds as well. The unstitched version actually gives me a little bit more space. It's slightly larger than the stitched version from what I can feel. So I'll get over to the stitch version in a second. Not by much, but enough to, I guess, feel it as I'm kind of like rolling my hands off of the mat. And even though Mink is thin, it still feels premium for a thin mat. So I'll give it that as well. So this was the unstitched version. I'm gonna put this to the side. I'll show you guys the stitched version. Slide some cards across of it. And then, so you see the mat shift a little bit, and that's just because Mink is a thin mat. That's why you get that. I'm gonna put it over to 1-player mode, and then also slide the cards. Yeah, so it's nice. So you guys can kind of see that stitch versus unstitched doesn't really matter, right? So it's just kind of an aesthetic thing for Mink at least. I'm not sure about all cloths. This one just came out of the box, so you can see that there's some minor creasing. And so Mink can hold the crease for maybe, I don't know, less than an hour. It creases pretty fast, but then it flattens out the moment you want it to flat out, really. Give it a couple minutes, it'll flatten out. It's kind of heavy for a thin material too. That's the thing that's kind of cool about Mink. It's thin, but it has some density to it. If Mink had a backing, this would be a very premium cloth. So if Pvramid decides to release Mink more in the future, put a backing to it, and I think it'll be a A to S tier cloth. Peace, like, subscribe.